Okay, in this video I want to quickly go over the Excel spreadsheet that you received so that you can start utilizing it for analyzing your listings and your goals for this year. So I know some of you have goals based on number of sales or amount of sales or net earnings or number of transactions. So I've actually created those four in here. So the only thing you need to do is come in here and modify the yellow areas only. Okay? And those areas are basically the goals that you want to put in here, the average price. So in your specific town or farm area or focus area, wherever you're marketing, what is the average price? And then your expected commission. Now, this can range. If you're in a team, you can half whatever you're expecting, or if you have a split with your team as well as the broker. So obviously this is going to change for that. So I don't have the team one set up for this one, but it is for a single agent that can kind of come in here and put the expected commission and then the split and then the marketing expense. Now we're doing 25% across the board for the marketing expense. If you have less than that, then obviously you can put less than that, but we average about 25%, and we allocate that for marketing, whether that is lead generation for future or for the listing and advertising, the 3Ds, videos, etc. So we put all of that in there. All right. And then the last thing that you're going to input is your tax bracket. So obviously with the new tax reform, these have changed. So you can just change it to 25% and you can see the impact of number of transactions that you would need, etc. So for example, if you have a specific farm site and you know that there are 100 homes that sell there each year, okay, and you want to get about 10% of the market share, which is 10 sales. So, you know, just be conservative. We're just going to put 10 in here, and you can put the average price, so whether that's 400 and 500, your expected commission, and then your split with your broker, and then the marketing expense allocation, and then you can see what you're going to be making here, okay? So that's the net earnings. That's after your taxes, everything, the expenses, everything else. So I utilize this to make my plans as far as, you know, if I come in here, for example, and I know that the average price that I'm looking for is at least $500,000, but I'm doing 1.5% offer this month for a special, and my split is 99.1. You can see all of the impacts here, right? How many sales, how much money am I looking to earn? So you can see here, right, with 99.1 split at 1.5, right? I'm looking at $500,000 home. I'm looking at $37,000. Now, of course, if your tax bracket is different, like 22% or whatever, you can see the difference that you would have in here, right? So you'd make almost 40K. So just be conservative. You can come in here, and if your average price is $600,000 and you're looking to make at least 20 sales, right? So again, this calculates everything for you. So your expected earnings after marketing expenses, right? So how much? So you'll know how much you need to allocate for marketing or systems, etc. So this marketing expense, the 25%, really gives us a good baseline of the expenses we want to kind of keep as a guideline for us for systems and lead generation, etc. And then we broke it down per listing. So your expected earnings per listing based on this price, the marketing expense, etc., you know, between your split and all of that. So if you come in here, and let's say that you are a team member, and your split is 50%, right? So now you're looking at making $45,000. And if the expected commission is 2.5, so you're looking at 75%, $75,000, right? This is the broker split, or your team member split at 2.5. So you can see the impact of charging 3%, right? So obviously at 3%, even if you're splitting it, you're looking at $90,000 at a $600,000 price range. Obviously, let's change that to 500 just to make it a little bit easier. And this is based on 20 sales. So if you think you're going to do 40 sales, or let's say 24, that's 2 a month of closed sales. You're looking at 90,000 at 3%, and if your split is 70-30, you're looking at 126. So you can come in here and just really look at, if you're 100%, look at the difference, 180 versus 70/30 is 126. For example, if I'm charging 1.5% listing fee, like some discount brokerages and some specials that I offer, and my split is 100% versus 70/30, I'd go from 63 to 90. And that's net earnings. All right? So that's one. So you can come in here and put that in depending on how many, if you're analyzing a farm, for example, depending on how much market share that you think you're going to get. So if you're doing, obviously direct mail campaign, you can expect to gain a lot of that market share on a regular basis if you're doing regular direct mail going out. But if you're just doing once or twice mailers here and there and not doing anything else, maybe you can expect to make 10 sales versus 20. So you can see the impact here. Obviously, marketing costs money. You need to invest in marketing in order to generate revenue. And then you also have to follow up. Obviously, a lot of people are still working on lead generation when they can't follow up or qualify the lead or convert them. So there's multiple levels to a sales that needs to happen. All right, so the next one I have is your goals based on gross before tax earnings, right? So before tax earnings, if you want to make $200,000, let's say, and the average price of the property, so you can look up where you live and put the average price in there. So for example, where we are is about $520, and I'm just going to do expected commission of 1.5%. Okay, if I'm splitting that. And broker split, you can put 99, marketing expense still, right? So I am looking at net earnings of 150,000 with 35 transactions that need to take place and $17 million, almost $18 million in sales I need to do. So obviously the net earnings is with the tax bracket, so you need to take the tax, but this is the gross. So if I want to make 200,000, I'm looking at 35 transactions, okay? But if the average price of the property is only 400,000, then I'm looking at 45 transactions. If it is 800,000, obviously it's going to be half of that. So you can see the difference, and obviously you can come in here and put your split in and get a better deal and understanding on it. So your goal is net earnings after tax. So after taxes, your earnings goal. So if you want to do 100,000, prices 400,000, expected commission is 1.5. So 1.5 is a good one if you're in a team, or you're going to work on it with another partner, or you split it, or if you're offering a 1.5% listing service. However you want to kind of define that. But you can come in here and put 3%. And then you can see it's just going to go in half, right? You're going to now only need 15 transactions, and you're only going to need about $6 million in sales versus double that, basically, for half the commission. And again, if you're in a 70/30, then you're looking at even something different. So if at 3%, with a 70% split, you're looking at 21 transactions or $8.5 million. So if you bump up your broker split to 90%, now you're like at 16 transactions. So this is a great way to kind of play with it and just see what really works for you. Obviously, maybe you're spending more in marketing. So for example, my sister lives in Florida, and marketing there, the home prices are a lot less, right? They're in the 400s, but there are a lot in the hundreds and 200s as well. So for an average, you can put 200,000 here. And even at 3%, with 90% split, you're looking at 33 transactions. All right, so you can basically come in here and put in all of this information and see what 2.5% versus 5% will mean to your goals, and have some kind of a number and a goal for yourself, because you need to have some kind of a direction of where you want to go. It's just like a map. You need directions on what you're aiming for. Okay, your sales goal. So if you want to come in here and you say, I want to make $8 million in sales this year, right? And Average price is 500,000. I'm going to expect to make about 1.5 because I'm on a team or because whatever. And your split is, let's say, 70-30 with your broker. Then you can see that number of transactions you need is 16. And you're going to have a net earnings of 47,000 if you're in the 25% tax bracket. All right. So, of course, this doesn't include a transaction fee. Okay. Or the state taxes. So I didn't include those. But you can add it to your tax bracket. So if you know that it's 5% state tax, so in this case, this should probably be 27 because we have the 5% Virginia state tax. So we can put that in there. So I should put these with all 27% just to get an estimate. But, you know, it's up to you guys how you want to divide it up. But all of this information is there. So this is only for the listings. So, you know, when I look at if I'm going to partner with people on a farm area and I say, okay, there's 100 sales, and if we can get 15 sales at 400,000, a 1.5% listing, and if I need to split that, I'm looking at $22,000 for 15 transactions. So, is that worth it for me to really, I mean, it's even less than that, 21,000. Is it really worth it for me to do that? Versus, you know, obviously you can come in here and do your own at 99%. You're doubling it, right? Even at 1.5%. Or you can do 2.5%. And this is the trick is once you start establishing yourself in a farm area, then it becomes easier to get the leads. You're not going to spend as much in marketing. You're not going to spend as much having to do a lot more marketing the following year because your track record should basically establish you. And you'll see a lot of people be advertising, obviously, all the sales that they have or all the sales or opportunities that they have with their clients. And the old saying, you know, you list, you last. This is true especially in an area where you live or know really well. So, in my opinion anyways, not that there aren't buyer agents that are killing it, because if you're part of a team and you don't have any of the marketing costs, so you can come in here and put 0% marketing costs, right? Even though you have, so your team member pays for all of the marketing or half of the marketing or whatever, and your split is 50% at 2.5, so you can see the impact here, right? Or if you know that you're going to spend more money on marketing, you can come in here and put that stuff in. Obviously, you know, everybody tests out different marketing expenses. You just need to know your budget. And I mean, I have a specific budget that I keep track of for our business and also for my real estate business. And I check in there all the time to make sure that I know what we're spending. And sometimes you're in the red until a sale happens, and you go back in the black. But you want to keep yourself out of that so that you're not bouncing up and down. And you want to allocate enough money for your marketing so you don't have to tap out of that, because that is the last place you want to really tap out of. You want to make sure that you have a CRM that keeps track and talks to your leads, nurtures them, and helps convert. Obviously, you're going to be the closer, so you need to communicate with them. So your email campaigns, etc., all has to lead the lead through a process of getting to know you, trust you, and like you, and respect you enough to call you. In some cases, obviously, that's offers or valuable information or your specific expertise that they can't get from someone else. So those are all the good selling points you need to think about. So these are just for listings. I wanted to show you this so you can go ahead and calculate your information and understand how much money you can make. The buy side is I didn't even touch up on it, but it's the same thing. So if you know that from 10 listings you should expect 3 buy sides, then you can come in here and put all of that information again. So if they're upsizing or downsizing, the prices will change. Your expected commission if you're working with someone, all of that. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.